Most construction injuries don't happen because someone didn't have PPE. They happen because the wrong PPE was worn incorrectly, or trusted in a situation it was never designed for. Welcome to Golden Era Construction Managers. Here, we go beyond shortcuts and teach construction the way professionals are trained. Personal protective equipment is one of the most misunderstood topics in construction. People think PPE is optional, uncomfortable, or just a rule for inspectors. Today, we're going to correct that thinking completely. By the end of this lesson, you'll understand exactly what PPE is required, why it exists, how to select it properly, and how misuse quietly destroys careers. Personal protective equipment is not a substitute for safe work practices. It is the last line of defense between your body and a hazard. PPE exists because not all hazards can be eliminated or engineered away. When a risk remains, PPE becomes mandatory. This distinction matters because exams often test whether PPE is treated as primary protection. It is not. PPE assumes the hazard still exists. That is why selection matters more than ownership. PPE must match the hazard, the task, and the environment. Wearing PPE incorrectly is legally equivalent to not wearing it at all. If PPE made work safe by itself, construction would be injury-free. The reality is more complicated. Employers are responsible for assessing hazards, selecting appropriate PPE, providing it, and training workers on its use and limitations. Workers are responsible for wearing PPE correctly, maintaining it, and reporting defects. Supervisors carry shared responsibility. If a supervisor allows work to continue without proper PPE, responsibility transfers upward. On exams, responsibility questions often disguise themselves as behavior questions. The correct answer usually involves failure to assess hazards or enforce PPE use. To continue this safety training series and build real job-ready knowledge, subscribe to Golden Era Construction Managers. Head protection exists to protect against impact, penetration, and in modern cases, electrical hazards. Hard hats must be worn in areas where overhead hazards exist, not just during active lifting. Modern safety helmets differ from traditional hard hats. They offer chin straps, side impact protection, and better retention. However, no helmet protects against complacency. A cracked shell, missing suspension, or expired helmet is ineffective. Improper use includes wearing hats backwards without certification, drilling holes, or storing them in direct sunlight. A hard hat that looks fine but is structurally compromised protects exactly nothing. Eye injuries are among the most common and most preventable injuries in construction. Safety glasses protect against flying particles, dust, and debris. Face shields protect against splashes, grinding sparks, and chemical exposure. One does not replace the other. A face shield without safety glasses is incomplete protection. Lens selection matters. Clear, tinted, anti-fog, and impact-rated lenses exist for different conditions. Wearing non-rated eyewear is considered no protection at all. Hearing damage is permanent and cumulative. You don't feel it happening. Earplugs and earmuffs reduce exposure to damaging noise levels, but must be worn consistently. A key exam point: temporary discomfort is not a reason to remove hearing protection. Employers must provide protection when noise exceeds allowable levels, even if exposure feels brief. Hearing loss is one of the only injuries that doesn't hurt when it happens. Gloves are task-specific. Cut-resistant gloves protect against sharp materials. Chemical-resistant gloves protect against solvents. Insulated gloves protect against electrical hazards. Wearing the wrong glove can be more dangerous than wearing none. Loose gloves around rotating equipment create entanglement hazards. Exams frequently test glove misuse scenarios. Safety footwear protects against crushing, puncture, slipping, and electrical hazards. Steel toe, composite toe, puncture-resistant soles, and slip-resistant tread exist for different risks. Athletic shoes, regardless of comfort, are not acceptable on active job sites. Respiratory hazards include dust, silica, fumes, vapors, and oxygen-deficient environments. Dust masks are not respirators. Respirators require fit testing, training, and medical clearance. Silica exposure is a major enforcement focus. Exams often test the difference between nuisance dust masks and approved respirators. If you can smell it, you're already exposed. Harnesses, lanyards, anchors, and connectors are systems, not individual items. A harness without a proper anchor is decorative. Improper fit, incorrect tie-off height, and damaged components negate protection. Fall PPE requires inspection before every use. Visibility protects against struck by hazards, especially around equipment and traffic. High visibility garments must be appropriate for lighting conditions and job site exposure. Faded, torn, or dirty garments lose effectiveness. PPE must be inspected before use, maintained properly, and stored correctly. Damaged PPE must be removed from service immediately. On exams, failure to inspect PPE is treated the same as failure to wear it. PPE does not eliminate risk. PPE does not replace training. PPE does not compensate for rushing. PPE is not optional based on experience. Most PPE violations happen during quick tasks. Personal protective equipment exists because construction hazards cannot be fully eliminated. PPE works only when it is selected correctly, worn properly, and respected consistently. Professionals don't see PPE as inconvenience. They see it as insurance for their body, their career, and their future. If you want to continue this safety training series and build real job-ready knowledge, like the video and subscribe to Golden Era Construction Managers.